So here are like my baby, like the picture when I was like a baby that I asked my mom to send me. This is me. I think when I was like a few months old, my mom's holding me there. Dad here, my mom, and my big brother. Yeah, so we have this tree that we own, and then we grow it until like it's like so large, and we take pictures by this tree every year. So I actually miss these kind of family photos because now that I barely able to go back home during like that holiday. So photos like this are like a treasure to me. I think this is at my grandparents' home back then. And this picture is special because we have like this ceremony when you let the child pick like an items that's supposed to represent like future jobs or positions or professions that they're going to in life. Yeah, it's just like a traditions that we do that for all the babies. And I think here I pick a stethoscope. So my parents was really hopeful that I'm going to become a doctor or do something in healthcare.
You guys were.
So my name is Ahn Tran. That's what I go by in the U.S. But my full name, which is also in the correct order in Vietnamese, would be Trần Quang Tú Anh. My number one priority would be getting into dental school because I do have a bigger dream after that is to go back to Vietnam, hopefully open a foundations or just like hopefully a charity foundations or just like a clinic that can offer like free annual oral care to children in like a more rural part of Vietnam, because we do have like philanthropists or organizations sponsor like free health screening and checkup, but not much for dental care. But their lack of like oral care, educations, just overall care and hygienes, and that leads to many more health issues. So I think that having someone who's willing to step up or step into that field and do the work and give them that kind of treatment is very important. So that's how I plan to make use of my experience, my knowledge, and my educations here, that I want to at least like go back and give some of that back to my country.
The values of education and healthcare echo from her earliest memories, yet the path to Wesleyan University was transcontinental and consisted of a leap from Ho Chi Minh City to a pit stop at the University of Evansville in Indiana, with the ultimate destination being in the Nebraska heartland of Lincoln.
I think like having the experience working in international club at my previous university for like 3 years, it's really helped me kind of like have a lot of ideas and know how to operate things and organize these kind of events for students. So I'm just really glad that I have that chance to be involved again with the community. I received that kind of help when I first came here. And I've always feel very grateful for the people that helped me out. And during that time, I really didn't feel homesick at that time as well, thanks to my friends and like such supportive community that I had. So that's kind of like the spirit moving forward. And I really want to show like, different perspective and different culture within this community, because I know that a lot of people would enjoy that too. Not just bringing a sense of home to the international students here, but also bringing a new perspective to the domestic students, and I think that is really great. Yeah. So I'm currently on an F1 visa, so there are many kind of like different student visa for international student to come to the U.S. So if you are an exchange student, you're actually on a J1 visa. But if you are coming here to pursue a degree, like if you're a degree seeker and you're a foreigner, then you'll actually be placed on an F1 visa. So your F1 visa is what keep you active during your entire stay in the U.S. to pursue your degree. But what keeps us staying here legally all throughout the year, even if our visa expire, is our I-20.
Someone applies, they're an international student, then the ISSO office has to issue an I-20. And the I-20, there has to be a showing that there's sufficient funds somewhere, parked somewhere, to cover the tuition cost. And with that I-20, then the individual, who we've not met, in their home country, has to go to a consular office and apply for the F1 visa. If granted, then they enter the United States. When they're stamped at the airport, they're, instead of a date certain saying you can stay until X, like if you come in on a tourist visa, the most you can stay is 6 months. But if you come in on a student visa, they'll have a designation called DS. And the DS stands for duration of status.
Ahn's life in Lincoln blossomed into something even more fulfilling. She found a partner in Vincent Nguyen, another international student navigating the halls of University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Their connection together, adjusting to a new culture and overcoming challenges, gave Ahn added depth and warmth into her life.
I used to be the kind of person who, if I get into fights, I want to win. I want to be the one who's always right. I want to win. That's kind of like the mindset I had before, even though I do not get into fights that often, don't get me wrong. But if I do, I really want to win. But being in a relationship with Vincent, I learned to compromise a lot. I learned to just, admit my mistakes. There's no shame of that. It goes both ways for us. And I think overall, I'm really grateful that we met and I have him right now. Thì tụi nó quay thôi chứ mua gì đâu. Biết mà, tụi nó biết mà. Ha. Okay, bye bye. It's so weird looking at Vincent with contact lenses. You need to figure out how to wear it. And he said, no, I'll just call you every time. I would just ask him. No, I'm like, no. And it's so funny. Like, he's scared about a lot of things. Like, if we, oh my god, Halloween already passed, but if we went to like haunted house together, you see a whole different side of Vincent. It's so funny.
My parents have the small company about those stuff, like a little bit related to my major. So my plan is just like, I'll try to study my best over here and then maybe try to get a job, like work 1 or 2 or even 3 years to have some experience about it. So I can get back to my country, help my parents for their own company and maybe improve in some way.
In her cozy Lincoln apartment, scents of Vietnamese spices intertwine with the sights and sounds of Vincent's culinary creations, a connection to her roots, a tribute to family, and the reminder of a journey that brought her here.
So this one is kind of like the veggie, like...
It's just stir-fried veggie. We call it su su sao in Vietnamese.
Yeah.
I actually don't know what kind of vegetable it is in English, but we got everything, most of our vegetable at the Asian's grocery store. So that like the label is in Vietnamese and I don't have to wonder what I'm buying and stuff. Yeah. We should make, I think this is
the broth.
the like sweet and sour soup cooked with pork ribs. And this is just pork belly and caramelized fish sauce. Yeah. And this is a pretty typical Vietnamese family dinner meal when you have like one stir-fry vegetable dish, one meat dish, and then one soup dish.
One time I cook in the dorm and I put the MSG, like I cook pho in the dorm, like for my dorm parents and stuff, and my friend. And my dorm parents saw me like to put the MSG. She didn't eat it. Like she skipped our food. I was like, okay, gotcha. So next time I won't put it.
It's just certain dishes would remind me of certain holidays. And as I grew up having those dishes at these certain days, it's somehow when I came here, it makes me feel like hey, even if it's the autumn festival or a Tet holiday or Christmas, or whatever holiday it is in Vietnam, since I don't have these dishes or these food, it just doesn't make me feel like I'm actually celebrating. Yeah. So definitely food is a very important part, or even why I was like just cooking at home, like doing home cooking. A lot of the food I learned from my mom. It's like some of them were like family recipe. So when I make it, even though it's not as perfect and it doesn't taste like her dish, it still remind me of her and like family meals that I have at home. Now, like when she got older, she just feel like, you know, like not it, and she just became more shy and just didn't want to go take photos on her own. So I did encourage her a lot, and we ended up having like a really wonderful photo shoots together. Yeah, so that's what I did the very last time I was in Vietnam, and that was the summer of 2022. My biggest influencer is my mom. She's a very giving person. Like, she never really tell me like, hey, you have to, you know, be loving and be kind, but her actions always show me that she is a kind and loving person. And as I grow up and I start to, you know, like know more and understand more, I realize that there are a lot of people respect her. And a lot of people loves her, and whenever she needs help, you know, people are always willing to just extend their helps to her because that's how much they care and love her. And I really want to have the kind of like the same love, care, and respect from others. So for the longest time, I've tried to become a person like my mother. I guess through all that process, I also enjoy just being a nice person. So yeah, so I think that's how it started.